Thank you. I don't need a clicker. Do you want me to click? Click? Please click for me. Click for me. It's wonderful to be the last speaker just before a reception where I understood there was wine. I'm very motivated to keep it brief. And I also, I picked a story, and I picked it again, and then I changed it 4 times, and I think I changed it twice so far in the last 20 minutes. The story I've decided to share with you took place on August the 27th, 1997. I walked in the door. It was my first day at work as the director of software engineering at Proclamation, which is a medical software company doing diagnostic medicine at the point of care. My first day of work, I walked in the door. I didn't even know where the bathroom was. And the receptionist says, Mr. Sabrin, Dr. Yale needs to see you right away. Dr. Yale, a practicing psychiatrist with a master's degree in computer science, was my boss. I walked into his office, my bladder filled. I wondered what the crisis was. He says, Rob, we need you to change our development process right away, right now. Change it because we want all our software to be developed on time. Now this is a true story. Now I'm running out of time, but let's do this well. Purkinje developed really high-quality software, and it kicked butt, and it was wonderful, but they were always late with their projects. I tried to say, I can't change this right away. My plan was to change it over 3 years. When you interviewed me, that's what we talked about. But he had heard about a concept called Machiavelli, and he believed that we should change it fast and brutal when the new guy comes in. And I'm not joking. This was what he wanted me to do. Luckily, I did buy some time, mostly because my bladder argument made a lot of sense to him. And he gave me 3 days. 3 days. I updated the resume quickly. I thought about it, and I thought of ancient wisdom from past stuff and all these things. And I said, what could I do to change how they develop software without changing how they develop software? And, of course, I did have a solution, and I've written a lot of articles about this called software engineering service models. And what I did was I basically cooked up an idea where we would change 2 things, we'd do 2 things. Not change how they develop software, but instead introduce the notion of peer reviews and introduce the notion of formal inspections. I did this is the first and only time in my professional career that I did a proclamation. I proclaimed that immediately, every time we check in any artifact of the software engineering process into source control, it must be reviewed by a peer at check-in time. Second, certain key project artifacts at the time would have to be formally inspected using a Gilgraham-style inspection mechanism. Not everything, just key things. We were careful, the team selected which things. We were doing, by the way, an iterative but not incremental method at the time. It was iterative. We implemented this. I did implement this. We got it going. We set it up at a service model. We didn't tell people how to develop software. We didn't change how they figured out how to get things done. We didn't change how they tested software. By November 14th, 1997, the project DCI 1.4 was released for the first time in the history of the company on time. Now, I want to suggest something about this. I went back there in January 27th, in fact, 2010, and I got a consulting contract there to help them identify automation opportunities in their testing practice. When I went through there, my chief inspection moderator, who championed the process back then, was still there and welcomed me happily and proudly showed me that still they were inspecting key documents in all their projects. Still, they were doing peer reviews on check-in, even though almost every other aspect of their software development process had changed. And that's my story. Let's have a glass of wine. Thank you very much.